At the beginning of this video, I said I would like to show where almost $1 million has been spent, and a lot of that has gone to fraudulent lawsuits. I tried to answer all the complaints in the proper way. I even videotaped myself answering them and sent them all registered mail. Garden Bridge.
Kit, garden fence,
The garden fence.
artistic kit,
A pile of sticks.
pallet.
There was a shed at one time parked in my drive.
I'm sending this registered or certified mail. June 19th or 20th. I think it's the 19th, 18th, 19th, 2019.
June 19th, 2019. And finally, I wanted to give some evidence of fraud by employees or members of the Baca Grande Property Owners Association. The definition of fraud by Colorado law says is whenever you engage in a wrongful act with the intent to gain an unfair or undeserved benefit for yourself and or intentionally cause harm or loss to another person through such an act. So, what the Baca Grande Property Owners Association did early on was refuse to acknowledge payments. You see of 7/9/2019, $420. 1/8/2019, $444. And there's my statement, the 1st of January 2020. They bring a previous balance forward of $430 and have 2020 $836. So begins with not acknowledging payments, and even though you send the canceled check, continue to not acknowledge payments. Here was a appeals committee meeting of October 24th, 2019, when they say they never received a permit for the driveway, apply for a driveway permit, and somehow the carport and fence finalized by the POA. They did dismiss the fines, but the fines were just reinstated and I was sued for them. So I do want to show that the driveway permit was submitted March the 20th of 2019. It was submitted at least 7 times, 7th driveway application. There was, with all the accompanying documents. I'm not the only one that has had this type of problem. The POA is corrupt. Gabe's Mobile Auto Repair posted this on Facebook. Connie says one thing, then does nothing. She accuses without evidence or even telling you what the issues are. Connie was supposed to do. She sat there and lied to our face in some makeshift hearing. Connie was to send us papers to finish the permit for the house. She never did that either. So I'm not the only one that has had these issues. I sent emails about my payments, about the harassment. Please stop allowing Connie Estrada to manipulate my account and my file. I've repeatedly asked for copies of my files, begging them to be ethical, honest, and sign off on these issues. various email, just constant emails to have documentation of the fraud, and then they just quit responding to my emails. They killed the sale of my home over and over again. And who gets to file the lawsuit? Who gets to sign her name on the lawsuit? That is Connie Estrada, the land use administrator. To back up, I applied for a prayer space, which required a driveway. I applied for, I put up a little garden bridge. I had a little plastic portable fence around my propane tank just for aesthetic use. It was not a construction project. It easily picked up and moved. Had little stakes that you hammered in the ground. This was a little garden bridge that could not be seen from the road. Therefore, it was required to trespass on my property to get a picture of it. It was down in a ditch area, and it was cited as a violation. These pile of sticks was cited as a violation. Again, I sent email after email, registered mail after registered mail. Purpose of this email is to show I have accurate documentation of communication and attempts to reconcile my account, and to those complicit in falsifying my account. So just a stack of email. More of the violations would have been a stack of pallets on top of each other in my backyard where no one could see. That's my house, pretty much clean and tidy compared to any neighbor's houses. So then I looked at the financials. I did offer mediation or binding arbitration. They offered mediation. What they do with mediation is you have to pay for it, and then they use your money and my money to pay for them to come and just have an additional advantage over you, causing you to pay for more money, and at the same time they'll just refuse any honest negotiation. So they will say that I refused mediation. I did not. I wanted binding mediation, so they would have to be responsible for their actions. They refused it because they would have lost and not caused me maybe $10,000 in lawyers' fees to fight them. But if you look at the financials, you will see 2018, 2017, please check my math, legal, general, legal, reimbursable, and there's liability insurance. Now still, half of 2018 is just missing. Can't find it. So, but it's fair to say Steve Dawson back, and then later Ed Barbaro took over in 2018 or 2019. So here's the financials for 2019. Just an unbelievable uptick in spending for legal, professional, liability insurance. Connie Estrada and Steve Dawsonback are being personally sued for fraud and civil rights violations, and they're using our money, your money, for their legal defense. So here's 2020 now, a really crazy uptick. See if I can get that in a better. You can find these on the website, frontsteps.com. There it is. So I did do a little chart that shows, darn it, that shows the spending. So 2017, 2018, legal and liability insurance, half of 2018 still missing, but for 2 years, $211,000. Let's go to those 2 years. Steve Dawson-Back, Ed Sbarbaro, and Connie Estrada get to run crazy with the money. You've got 2019, 2020, $844,000, and that is with December still missing. And I think if we finally get the results, we're going to be close to $1 million. Now you have to ask, what could have been done to improve the community with $1 million? Could we have negotiated with the homeowner to maybe clean up the blight? Could they have acknowledged communications from homeowners to acknowledge permits and not make these lawsuits some personal vendetta? Could we have maybe used that money to start a community center with a heated pool, a gym, a juice bar, a coffee shop, maybe some place for us to enjoy our community? Could we have encouraged people to grow Rocky Mountain junipers to provide privacy hedges, maybe for homes that are struggling? But going back to the land use administrator that is ignoring permits and communications and falsifying accounts. She has 2 DUIs. She has a long history of methamphetamine, drug and alcohol abuse. She is the fire chief of Saguache's niece. So, don't want to disparage anybody's illness. I'm in recovery myself, but it doesn't excuse somebody committing fraud against the citizens, the paying, clean citizens of the Baca Grande Property Owners Association and Crestone community. Connie apparently gave my number to her daughter, Morgan Harris, and encouraged her to text me. So I responded to try to get her to reveal her identity. She did somewhat. Of course, this one says, "Look, bitch, this ain't Connie. She wouldn't waste her time texting your ass, but guess what? I will." So, it was several texts like that. Crazy bitch, leave people alone. Of course, Connie convinced her she was a victim and needed her daughter's help. Another friend of mine was getting texts too from, say, Morgan Harris. And then other anonymous texts went to other friends of mine that were helping me and trying to get information from the POA that would have helped me. So when they were onto this, they started harassing those people, which is really sad. This anonymous text came from someone that was identified as a Facebook friend of Connie's. And disclaimer here, I am not a Republican or a Democrat. I believe both parties are hopelessly corrupt, but I was posting some stuff about Trump this day on my social media, and I got this spouting off your fake ass bullshit, libtard logic, your pedophile supporter of rape, crawl back in your hole before I let the authorities know who are looking for you exactly where you are. So I left the community really afraid that this woman, Connie Estrada, would have me arrested on some sort of made-up charge. They were coming to my home quite often, just on her verbal complaints, and as you see now, refusing to take any evidence of these texts as for filing charges against her, or any of this evidence I'm showing as evidence of fraud or perjury. Again, also, just like her daughter, using "you are a pedophile" as you are in her text, and having you arrested, which was something they enjoyed threatening me with, and calling me a hookah ass hoe is another one, because they went and somebody put me on a sex worker site, and I began receiving text from all sorts of men. Again, I started responding because I wanted to know where the texts were coming from, where the website was. It turns out it was Craigslist, but all sorts of lovely text I was getting. So again, to the Saguache County Sheriff's Department, I am offering you this evidence of fraud, and reminding you of the definition of fraud and harassment and perjury for Connie Estrada and hopefully other members of the Baca Grande Property Owners Association. And again, to those of you with concerns about Crestone, Colorado, I appreciate you watching this video, and I too pray for a raised consciousness to stop this behavior. Thank you again for watching.